Okay, so we did the basic input, process it, output. Now, what we can do is let's add if statements for the different um, things people type in. So if we look at, let's just go back to age. And what we're going to do is just say, okay, age is that. Please enter your age. And then what we're going to do here is basically we're going to just give different output based on what they type in. So if their age is less than, I guess it's like 12, you're not really, you're kind of still like a child. You are still a child. I guess I'll say kid. Still a kid. Now, because there's multiple options here, what we'd end up doing is we use what's called an elif, which is short form for or else. If this is the case, do this. So elif, and the nice thing is you can do like a range. So if their age is bigger than or equal to 12, or and use and to do a nice range like that, and their age is less than or equal to 19. And every time you do an if, to show that you're into that, like to make it work, you have to have this colon to be like, here's the condition. When this is true, so when this is the case that you're less than 12, this is the code that's going to run. And you can type in multiple lines. There's not just one line and then done. And so I'm going to do this extra print so then it prints a new line. I'm going to copy, you are a teenager, or else they're between what, 20, and the age is less than, let's say 35. You are a young adult. And what you do is every time you have a new case, you just do this elif. So you're an adult until 65, I guess. And then once we're done all of our cases, you throw in else. When you don't do the last one, so everything above 65 is like a retiree, we'll say, an old person. So, you are old. So, you just encapsulate everything else that's not in one of these cases into here, and it'll only ever run one of these. It shouldn't run multiple. If it runs multiple, we've made some sort of mistake, and that's a good way of checking it. So what I would usually do is I'm going to run this. So if lesson. So when I'm running this, actually I'm going to close this. So then it runs fresh here. So when I'm doing this, I'm going to be like, okay, let's try 12. You're a teenager. Uh-oh. Well, no, that's perfect because if it's between 12 and that, it should be fine. Okay. Run it again. 11. You're still a kid. Perfect. Run it again. Let's choose a number between 20 and 35. So 31. You're still a young adult at 31. That's interesting. And then if I was 55, I'm an adult. And then if I'm 76, I'm old. So everything is working as anticipated. And even I technically wouldn't have usually checked 12 dead on, but you should check those dead on spots to make sure that there's nothing that's messed up. So for this one here, you can see I did less than or equal to, right? So I went right from the start, exact start to the exact end. This one here, I went from the exact start to just below or just above where I want it to end. So this is the same as doing less than or equal to 34. And then you look here, boom. So I would test it out when I'm doing if statements. I like to test out every case just to like run it a few times, just make sure that that works that way. You don't want to have something mess up like that. But remember, you only add elifs if you have more than 2 scenarios. So here I'm going to put in hours worked is equal to float, because you can technically get you can work like 3.5 hours. So, and what I'm going to do is show you if you work overtime or not. It's over, I think it's 40 or 44, but basically what you have here is enter your hours worked this week. And what I'm going to do is just do if hours worked is less than or equal to 40. I'm just going to print you did not work overtime. Now, I forgot to put it like that. And there's only one other case you worked more than that. So I'm just going to print you worked overtime. And that's how I would do something. If there's only 2 conditions, I'm going to do if and else. If I have more than 2 conditions, I'm going to do if, elif for the other cases until I have one more left. You always need to have an else. You should never have it without this statement here. You should not have else if age is greater than 65. Do this unless you were going to do your else as everything less than 0, which would be you'd have to do like age is bigger than equal to 0 and it's less than 12. Then your else would be everything under 0. So you don't do I will dock marks because it is improper to have it like this without this else. If you only have 2 cases, you should just have an if and an else. If there's only 1 case, you can just have just an if. So, and then this is like day equal to input, and what is your favorite day? I know it's hard to know right now because it's hard to know what's your favorite day of the week when you don't even know what the days of the week are. What is your favorite day of the week? And usually we hate this day. And so this here, when I'm doing input, just plain input, I like to add this at the end of it, which is it forces it to be lowercase by doing .2 lower. So they can type in random casing, it's going to force it to lowercase, and then I can deal with it like this, which I know the output doesn't come out nicely. Like if you try to put Monday again and try to put it at the start of your thing, it wouldn't do it at the start. There are ways around it. It is a bit more tedious, but it's not too crazy. And you could actually do something in between. So if they type it in, you're just putting a lot of faith in the fact that they're typing it in normal by not forcing everything lowercase. But this is how you could say if they say Monday, are you mad? Now, obviously, you wouldn't just do that, but that's how you could do just one thing, and that's how you compare words. So just kind of wanted to recap quickly if statements.